Are you 20 years old and you're thinking, why do I got to worry about investing for retirement? That's like a long time away. Stay tuned because this video is for you. So today's video is all about looking at saving for retirement if you're in your 20s. I'm taking a look at the range of 20 to 29. I'm just keeping it really simple. My number one saying is keep it simple, silly. KISS principle plays a big role in how I invest. Now, I'm considering the fact that you're 20 years old, somebody's come to you and they said, oh, you need to save, you need to put some money away because you're going to have a rainy day or one day you're going to want to retire. And you're like, yeah, but there's lots of factors at play here, and I get it. I sat down and talked to my youngest children who are still in their 20s, and I've talked to other 20-year-olds, 20-somethings, so to speak, and asked them, so what holds you back from saving? The number one thing I've heard is, I really don't have a lot of money already. How can I save when I don't have a lot of money? The number one thing I can say to you is, be sure to look what you're spending your money on already. Consider putting together a rudimentary budget. I know that one of my children was struggling with their budget because they didn't have one. When it comes to a budget, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's really important to know where your money's going, even at a rudimentary level. If you're able to then tack away and take, let's say, $50 a paycheck, it might seem like a lot in the beginning, but you won't miss it very quickly. And trust me on this one, you will not miss it very quickly. 50 bucks, you can go to the movies and get 2 movie tickets and popcorn, and you've easily spent 50 bucks. I know another thing that holds you back is you don't really understand the principle of time. Time is your superpower when it comes to investing. Now, the rest of this video is going to be dedicated to showing you how that superpower comes into play. We're going to be going to a site called calculator.net. You can all access it. You can play with the numbers depending on your age, your time frame, etc., what you can save. Then you can find out what your future value of money is. And I think that's really important. Now, I'm gonna nail a argument that I've heard a few times now. Well, you know, if I save $1 million in 40 years, what's it going to be worth? Who cares? You have to consider two things here. One of them is nobody knows. Nobody knows how much that money's going to be worth. $1 million could be worth what $100,000 will buy you today. The second thing is you have to consider the fact that over time, as inflation goes up, let's say if inflation marches away at 2 to 3% every year, and every year you increase your contributions by 2 to 3%. Over the course of 40 years, your money will be worth way more, and you'll keep up with that march of inflation. So that $1 million you could possibly save in 40 years is worth $1 million if it was today's money. So do consider that. Be sure to stay tuned. We're going to get right into the statistics right now. Okay, so let's just take a look here. I'm on a site called calculator.net. It's a free site on the internet. Thank you, calculator.net. You're a very handy site I've used on many occasions. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into the investment calculator section here, okay? And what we're going to do is we are going to start out with a zero starting balance on our long-term investment savings. And let's say you're 20 years old and we are going to project what we could save by the time we're 60. So that's a 40-year window. Okay. Now, it's not unusual to get 10% in the markets on average every year. And we want to be able to contribute monthly, but we're only going to contribute $100 every month. And we're going to contribute it at the beginning of every month. Okay, so if we hit calculate here, the graph here is going to spin up and show us what our breakdown is on how much we put in, how much compound interest is putting in, and what our total value of our account will be worth at the age of 60 as an example. So let's hit calculate here. And surprisingly, by the time 40 years passes, that account will have $637,678.02. Now, what is it going to be worth? Hard to tell. But this gives you a starting place. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is why I keep saying, if you start saving early in life, even though you don't save very much, like right now in our day and age, $100 a month is nothing. If you're working even part-time, making minimum wage, and you're getting paid every 2 weeks or twice a month, let's say, taking $50 out of each paycheck is nothing. It really is nothing. And you put it away, you forget about it, and then one day down the road, you're gonna take and make use of that money. Now, the interesting thing here is the total contributions that that person would have made in that 40 years is only $48,000. Where'd the rest of it come from? Interest. $589,678 is interest. Isn't that incredible? It's insane. When you have this sort of time window, it makes a huge difference. Literally, we can take a look here from this pie chart. Less than 8% is our contributions. The other 92% is interest. And that's why this is so powerful. Now, let's just say you're working part-time and you can put $200 away. And this is not even assuming, this is such a simple calculator. This is not even assuming over time you can put more away. Let's say you started out at $100 a month, and then all of a sudden you start putting in $200, and then $400, and then one day you're putting $1,000 in every month. It really makes a difference. So let's just say we started out, and from day one till to the month we turn 60, we're only putting $200 a month in. Now take a look at this. Of course, our numbers are all gonna double, and we're gonna have well over $1 million. Our breakdowns are almost identical, 7.5 and 92.5 when it comes to our input and the interest received in this time frame. It's just crazy. I wanted to show you that how important it is just to put a little bit of money away every single month. And I know in the beginning, it's very hard to see the long road. I didn't see it. I didn't see the long road until I was almost 40 years old. And then I started seeing this end game coming up, and I'm like, I gotta start doing something about this. And even then I didn't do very much about it. But if you started at 20, let's say, even in your 20s, and you started investing even $100 a paycheck or $200 a month, you could accumulate 1.2, almost $1.3 million in an account. Maybe it's not worth as much at that time, but if you're continuing to input and add every single month as time goes on, you will have a sizable amount, because you will, as inflation goes up and the value of money goes down, but you're earning more money, you're able to put more money into this. And over time, you could see 3, 4, 5, 10 times the difference in terms of what you can end up with. So just remember that. And I tell you, it's worthwhile going to this site. You can actually see what everything looks like on a yearly basis. There's so many different calculators on this site, but I recommend just, even from the point of view of looking at the investment aspect of things. And again, keep it simple. Don't worry about cost of living. Don't worry about adding more or adding less or whatever. Just think of, what could I consistently put in, and just ramp it up over time. If you just naturally ramp up everything over time, you're going to get to where you want to be. Hope you enjoyed this. So pretty startling, eh? I'm not going to lie to you, it was very shocking. And in the future videos, you're going to see what it looks like if you wait 10 years or 30 years or 40 years. It makes a big difference. So if you're 20, or if you're in your 20s or you're 20-something, start saving. That's the number one thing I'll say to you, and don't overcomplicate it, guys. Frank Thomas, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Thank you so much.